I got a question. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What kind of pirate are you? I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. What?
Welcome into the Pirate Football Playback. I am Dave Richmond, along with Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you, man?
What's going on, Dave? Bubba, how are y'all?
Hey, Bubba. What's up, dude?
Not much. Enjoying a beautiful Sunday afternoon at the baseball field on Riley's tryout that he had just finished. So nice afternoon, very much like it was yesterday, minus the game at Dowdy Ficklin.
No doubt about it. Pirates go down 38-21. One of the things, gentlemen, that I want to mention to you before we break down the game is the very fact, if anybody don't go in the panic room, Kyle, you were spot on, my friend, like a lot of times. You didn't like the matchup, and the more I listened to you, I started thinking about that defensive line for Tulane, both sides of the ball, the offensive line, and they really dominated. And Coach Houston talks about that all the time, and he's right. I mean, that's fundamentals of football is the line play, and we've just got to be patient to get, as I know Coach Logan used to talk about, there's no defensive linemen that are growing on trees. So the same thing can be applied for offensive line. We're going to have to give them time to develop the line on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, Tulane probably has the best defensive line in the league. I mean, I don't know. Cincinnati's defense, Cincinnati's whole damn defense is nasty. But maybe just defensive line only. Tulane's might be a hair better. But they certainly got a couple of NFL caliber guys on there. It was not a good matchup. What they like to do defensively and what we like to do offensively. We played right into their hands and didn't execute. And one thing we've seen, so far, and, I don't know if it's just the offense or if it can be put on the O-line, how much of it is Holton. When you take the running game away from this offense, this year, it's just, there is no offense. Holton, I think that has a lot to do with the O-line.
Yep.
Holton is effective when we can run the ball. When you take that running game away and you can put pressure on him, the O-line can't pass block. There's no run game. He can't go light it up and just pass the ball downfield and hit these receivers, and that's 90% on the O-line. And we were exposed a little bit yesterday. That's the bad part. That's the worst part about the game to me is I think we were exposed a little. The good news is, outside of Cincinnati, I don't think there's anybody left on our schedule that can do what Tulane did yesterday defensively, even though we were exposed. I think that's the good news. The bad news is we got to play Cincinnati next.
Well, guys, I was thinking about this morning, getting ready for the show, but our good friend, one of the regular contributors on the show, Terry Gallagher, former wide receiver, the Pat Dyer, he made a really good point. He said it several times. We've got COVID has been so crazy. We're not going to blame COVID on this football program and the team. However, this is like a really long spring football where you have guys that are given an extra year of eligibility. And one of the things that is going to be 6 straight years of 6 straight losing seasons for this program. However, it's not what we have to take into context. And I have to remind myself, as bad as I want to win and as bad as I want this program and my school, my alma mater, to be successful again, we have to remember how much of a hole this program's in. And I know nobody wants to hear that. We want in the society we want it having our way like Burger King, like right now, microwave it. But the problem is, you think about 54 new players on the team. You think about the offensive line. Those guys are hurt. You got new guys coming in, and you guys know you're the football experts. That offensive defensive line, the chemistry has got to be there. And
you brought up something, Dave. When is the last time we had 6 straight losing seasons? Because I was just thinking back to the 80s. Yeah. We had a winning season in 83, then 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. I believe in 89 we went 6-5. So that was 5 straight losing seasons. When in the hell did we have 6 straight losing seasons?
It would have to be.
89 was 5-6. I think.
Yeah,
90 was 6-5. Okay.
Well, there was actually 5-5-1. We had a forfeit from Louisiana Tech, a game that we tied.
Okay.
but but it's been
So
a long
this is the first time since the
Baker.
84 to 1990 that we've had 6 straight losing.
Yeah, and another thing too with that era, there was a gentleman for the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about that when we have time. There was 2 scouts yesterday looking at Verity. They were looking at what was the difference? I think 75 on the offensive line, the senior. They're looking at him for the Pirates. Those 2, and there was another Tulane player that they were looking at that's hurt right now. But they even told me about Holt Nailers. But anyway,
You said Sean Bailey, right? Sean
yeah,
Bailey.
that's right. Thank you, Bubba. Sean Bailey. I was drawing a blank. Sean Bailey.
They weren't looking at Patrick Johnson for Tulane.
They were, well, that's another one they were looking. Yeah, Patrick Johnson was one of them. But there was one player that was hurt they were talking about. But anyway, they the thing is that he was talking about, the reason I brought that up was the fact that he was talking about Art Baker, and that, how we had the air raid, like his offense that Art Baker had. He said he was a big fan of East Carolina, going all the way back to Art Baker. And I told him, I said, the funny thing is with Art Baker is, guys, could you imagine if we had that schedule now where it was Murder's Row, Penn State, Florida State? Florida State, we might have a chance at this year, but Miami, all those really hard independent schools back in the day, that would be an unbelievable schedule you'd have to deal with. Furthermore, if you look at the fact that I was telling one of my broadcasting friends, he said, what's happened to the Pirates? I said, they took away some games, including you have to feel like that, no offense to the folks at Norfolk State, but you'd have to feel like Norfolk State was a winnable game. And then if you look at the Navy game, and you look at the game last week where we got robbed with Tulsa, there's 3 winnable games right there. So that would be 4 wins we'd have or 3 wins, at least 3 or 4 wins on the schedule already, and we have 1. So no excuses. But again, for people that are casual fans that don't know anything about football, they're Pirate fans, you're just going to have to be patient. And it's unfortunate. We thought that that things may turn around, and game by game. The good thing is,
well, the problem is, Dave, is we didn't win the Navy game because of the quarterback situation, and then we were blatantly robbed out of the Tulsa game. And if you get those 2 games, for all intents and purposes, we'd be 3-3. And you look at the remaining schedule and you go, all right, well, we should be able to beat Temple, and that'd be 4. And then you go, even if you don't upset SMU or Cincinnati, then you add a winnable game on the 5th, and now you got a 5-win season, and you finish the season 5-5.
And you dropped. I was saying that Norfolk State is another game that we should have won.
Right, but I'm talking about just how the schedule is.
I understand. I'm just saying that the people that
also have losses to South Carolina and Marshall probably.
That's okay. I know. I wasn't counting those as wins anyway, but I'm just saying, as far as the win total, we would have more wins on the win column compared to what we have now.
Well, we should anyway, just based on the schedule. We should be 3-3 right now, but we're not.
It's okay.
And what we got to do. Look, you can't finish 1-8. You can't do that. And and Temple's a winnable game, but we might not win it. I mean,
they've had our number.
Temple's going to look at East Carolina and go, "That's a winnable game too." I think SMU is a game that we match up well in, just like we didn't match up well this week. So that's a game that we could potentially pull an upset in, particularly Thanksgiving weekend, long trip from Dallas to Greenville. So who knows? But I'd like to see us add a game for the 5th, an easy win, so to speak. I know Gilbert has left that on the table, that he is willing to do that. I don't think we can do it officially until the week of the SMU game to make sure we don't have to make up any of these next couple of games. But if you do that, you don't want to perceive as going backwards. And I think at worst, if you go 2-8, you can look at it and go, well, we're kind of where we were last year because we played, less games. So, you're getting into a tricky situation in terms of perception now with 1 win. That's what I'm trying to say. That was the shame of not winning the 2 we should have won. And a lot of people thought we were going to just roll yesterday. I kind of thought yesterday was going to be a tougher matchup for us in Tulsa, and it was. And like I said, now we kind of put ourselves in a bad situation because now we got to roll into Cincinnati, and in all likelihood, Cincinnati's going to whip our ass.
Well, look, yeah, you look at the situation. Look at that very situation, Kyle. And Bob, you look at the situation. Our mindset is that we're a winning program, right? That's what we've always been. The problem is Tulane used to not be a winning program, at least on a regular basis. Now they have a coach that's built the program. Same thing you're talking about Cincinnati. Luke Fickell has come in there and done a nice job recruiting our friend Chad Brindle. We've talked to him a lot about that. And being an Ohio State guy, he knows talent, he knows the state. That guy right there, you look at Luke Fickell, I'm telling you, he's going to be, I hate to use the term Power 5, but he's probably the next guy that'll be robbed out of the league, I think.
We've already turned down Michigan State, so.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, I wonder what job he is holding on for. I mean,
Ohio State?
I ain't coming up in anytime soon.
I doubt it.
I don't know. Maybe he's content staying to Cincinnati. You wonder if Michigan people get sick of Harbaugh, if they would they dare offer an Ohio State guy?
Well, he would know how to beat Ohio State, right?
You would think.
That's your program. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it's been many times that's happened where you hire a guy that knows that program very well. And, they're paying, speaking of Harbaugh really quick, they're paying Harbaugh a lot of money. I like Harbaugh, but they're paying that guy a lot of money. And they're another program that's got a rich tradition that's living off their name. And they can't, how many games in a row they've lost to Ohio State? It's a number of them.
Hey, and even more than that, as frustrating as that is to them, for sure, because it got when the roll was on the other foot, or the shoe was on the other foot, so to speak. Hey, stop laughing at me. I'm driving.
I like it when my biscuit's on my head.
Hey, but anyway, my point is John Cooper got his butt fired for not being able to beat Michigan, and the same thing could happen to Harbaugh. And they had so much success under Harbaugh outside of Ohio State and Michigan State, but that's a big part of it when you're coaching at Michigan. And they hadn't lost to Indiana in 24 years.
Yeah, Indiana doing some big things this year, beating Penn State. Of course, I don't know. Penn State lost to Maryland yesterday, so I don't know what the hell's going on in Happy Valley. It's Big Ten's a mess.
University of Mo's got 2 wins, right? Back to back.
Yeah, so they're due for one more.
The 3 and how many games are they playing in? I
believe up 9 or 10.
Okay, they are doing the 9. Yeah, they guys, we got to talk more about the Pirate game. We'll talk in a little while about the games yesterday. Some great games in college football. If you're a Pirate fan, we'll talk about that, and just a college football fan in general. But going back to our game with Tulane, we've got to understand where our program is and understand that programs that haven't had the history like Tulane, like we're talking about, they've surpassed us. So the only way that we can do this thing is be patient. Another thing I want to bring up, gentlemen, and what I want y'all to help me out with is finally the administration. I give them credit where credit's due. When I'm happy with them, I say it. When I'm not happy, they finally did the We Believe campaign, gentlemen. What was that, Thursday or Friday? They came up with it.
Yeah, I believe it was released. Yeah, Thursday or Friday. I'm having trouble remembering which that was now myself.
But finally, that campaign, we've needed that campaign for over a year, but better late than never. And I want Pirate Nation to start giving that. You call it's 7. Let's see. We did the number for a Pirate Club. I'll get it in a second. But anyway, call the Pirate Club and give your donation to the We Believe campaign. It doesn't count for your Pirate Club donation, but $50 here and $100 there, I will do that. And by the way, Kyle, I've got another idea for you. We found out last week, which we thought there's a good chance they haven't officially announced it for basketball. No fans are going to be allowed this year. It looks like. So I have an idea, Kyle. I'm going to buy I'm going to buy. I want, and I'll be the first one to give the money. But let's have cardboard cutouts of Cal from LaGrange, Bubba, me. Maybe we get the kids, but charge it. App State did that for football, $150 a piece. It may not be a lot, but people will tune in to see the cut. Hey, I was on TV. There's Kyle from LaGrange.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Look, the We Believe thing, I haven't read it, but if I'm John Gilbert, I just get out there and tell it like it is. Look, man,
Need you.
COVID's ravaged our program. We were struggling financially before because of poor decisions,
right?
And poor decisions, because that's contributed to what us having losing seasons. The poor decision for overspending on Townback Tower, and now COVID's came in at the worst possible time. And if you give a shit about East Carolina athletics, if you care about Pirate football, if you care about Pirate basketball, Pirate baseball, East Carolina in general, and you want to see us continue to try to compete at the highest level, we need you down. We need you to give what you can. Whether it's I don't know what donations they're asking for. If it's $1, they'll take whatever you can give. Believe me.
I didn't see $1.
Huh?
I glanced at it. I'll look at it again. When you sent it to me, I don't know I haven't seen the breakdown that they're asking for. I didn't see that in the thing.
But I'm sure they're going to take whatever you give them. So if you ain't got $5, I'm sure they'll take it. So give what you can. Because right now we're in survival mode, and we don't need to sugarcoat it. Need to put it like it is. We don't have Power 5 money, and there's a lot of money at the university, and I do think that's something that needs to be looked at. That right now, certain money can't be given to athletics from the university if you're part of the UNC system, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at during this pandemic. Huh?
You're exact. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to talk about the other night, and I forgot. But you make a great point, and I thought about it on I think it was Thursday. But if you look at, I've said this before, it's a tale of two cities, okay? And it's because of that stupid rule by the General Assembly. We need to change that. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican.
Even if it's just temporary. I want
it all the time. I'll tell you why.
Well, I agree with you, but I would take it just temporary over the next 20
months.
It's
better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Yeah. But what I'm saying, you look at the drive up and down, if you're a Pirate fan, drive up and down 10th Street. You see all these big buildings going up, including student housing. Well, that's a whole nother show. But it's all these massive buildings, right? You see all that, right? And then you go to our athletic complex, and it looks it's not even, it's a tale of two cities. It's like Charles Dickens' novel. It's a tale of two cities right now. So what needs to happen, General Assembly, we're paying your salaries. You represent us. We don't work for you. You work for us. You need to go in there, change the law so that state-supported schools can take state money. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about that. Other states that's why we're getting killed in the American. You look at Florida, you look at other states, they allow a whole bunch of money, public money, and there's nothing wrong with public and private partnership of coming together. There's nothing illegal about that. But we're at a disadvantage to begin with in American before COVID. Even if we had Terry Holland or John Gilbert, Ryan Robinson now, if we had none of that the problems we've been through, we would still be at a disadvantage because of the state laws that need to be changed. And look, Carolina, you look at NC State, a lot of the big programs that you love in the General Assembly, they're hurting too. They're hurting too. Even with their Power 5 money, they're hurting. So what you need to do is change the law. And when you do that, then that's fair, because if these big buildings for academics and athletics go hand in hand. And it's so frustrating to see where John Gilbert and Ryan Robinson, they're at a disadvantage as the heads of the program for athletics. I'm fair with them on that because they need help there. And the way they could do it is when you talk about indoor practice facility, you look at all the upgrades to Williams Arena is 25 years old, guys. It wasn't built last year. And our basketball program is on the rise, thanks to Coach Dooley and the staff. And like you, Kyle, there's some adjustments that need to be made. There's things that they can do to that. But anyway, we want to make sure that everybody knows about We Believe. Call the Pirate Club, and we'll get that for you in just a second, that number again. But it's really important that you do that, because if you do that, if we can raise millions of dollars, hey, we're not going to talk politics, but hey, Kyle, look at the political Look at these political campaigns, $5, $10, and they're raising big money. You can do that too in Pirate Nation, $5, $10 at a time. And we've got one of the things that drives me crazy about our institution, and it's not directed at the administration now, so let me be very clear on that. That's been going on forever, is we're stuck in our ways. We're stuck in this old business model that does not work. If somebody only has $5 to give, take the money. Take the money, even if you have no benefits for them. $5, $10 here, $100. If you can give $5 million, whatever you can give, we really need to. If you don't believe me and you're saying why, David, you're talking about that, look at the scoreboard. We have that up at the top of the screen: 38 to Tulane, 21 Pirates. Don't think that money doesn't play a part of that. Not only is it great coaching, but Coach Mike Houston, they need an indoor practice facility, and guess who's going to pay for it? We pay for it. So right now I'm giving a lot of money because I can, and things are a lot better financially for me this year, believe it or not. So I've increased my giving. I'm going to give to the We Believe campaign because everybody needs. We're not talking about, and we said this before, Kyle, too, and we'll get back to the game. But the very fact that there are people that lost their jobs, we're not talking about people that lost their job. You need to take care of your family. We're not talking about you. But if you look at that scoreboard again at the top of the screen, if that doesn't bother you, it's not because of Mike Houston. Don't blame Mike Houston, the staff. Don't blame John Gilbert and Ryan Robinson. It starts with us, the fans. It starts with us to give. And this isn't a professional football team. The only way we're going to make it is if we have people giving money. We've got to have a Pirate Club director. We've got to have a Pirate Club director in there, a really good one. That's a whole nother show, so to speak, but we've got to get that in there because if we don't have money, then we don't have a program. So I don't understand why that's not a important thing. And I'm hoping that we will get that here. It's almost a new year in 21. We need to have the Pirate Club director in there ASAP. People in the Pirate Club are tremendous, but they need a leader. And we as fans, there's a whole bunch of fans that are watching, people that I talk to. No surprise, they're not members of the Pirate Club. They do buy their season tickets. We understand all that, but we've got to have more people giving. And if you don't give, it's kind of like voting. If you don't give, then you don't have a reason to complain about that score yesterday.
No, I agree. And we definitely need everybody to contribute not only to the annual fund, but to the We Believe program or the We Believe fundraiser and help this program survive. I mean, that's what we're in right now. We're in survival mode. We need to. What we got to do is make up for lost revenue, and it's not our decision to have 7% capacity. That's at a state level. Believe me, we would love to have had more fans in there yesterday. So don't hold that against the university. I saw somebody that was angry about that on Facebook that said we'll start giving money when we start going to games again. Well, you ignorant ass! It's not the choice of the university.
That's not their fault. That's not their fault. Exactly. That's not their fault. And COVID, and by the way, Kyle, Friday, coronavirus, new record, ladies and gentlemen, 126,000 cases. And guess what? I see a lot of people, you don't wear a mask. I love you. I love you. But when you don't wear a mask, guess what? The numbers are going to keep going up, and that's going to hurt us deep into 21. We can't afford it. We can't afford to have another year of COVID and another year of COVID and another year of COVID because you want it your way. And I'm not getting political. All I will say is it's been way too political on that thing. But coronavirus is real. I've had 2 people I know personally that have died from it. Lots that have got coronavirus. It's for real. It's not going away. The only way we beat it is if you do what they tell you to do. And it's not about control, politics, anything. We've got to eradicate that disease. That's affecting a lot of things, including jobs. Look at the administration. They had to furlough more people. That's sad. That's pathetic that it's come to that. And again, Kyle, you brought it up. It's a great point. I hadn't thought about it a few weeks ago. We have Thanksgiving, Christmas. We have holiday parties. We have New Year's coming up. But that period of like about a 6-week period, 5 or 6 week period, is going to dictate whether we might have a baseball season or not. A lot of things could happen to the university, more sports cut. Who knows what's going to happen? And I'm telling you, we've got a critical period. I know who wants to wear a mask? None of us want to wear a mask.
I know. Yeah, Dave, you're right. But let's not get too far off on a tangent here. People People are tuning in to hear us talk about Pirate football. But wear your mask, people, and let's hope we can play basketball and baseball. And next season we can have people in the stands for football.
That Pirate Club number, by the way,
we cannot afford another season with no football, with no fans in the stands for football.
Exactly.
It would kill us. We'd be done.
That Pirate Club number, by the way, folks, 252-737-4540, 252-737-4540. Let's talk again about that game yesterday. The thing that's very frustrating is that very thing of what we've known all along. The line play, we talked about that. And if, Kyle, you brought it up, a great point is that if Holton has time, then we have a running game. The running game sets up the passing game, and it starts with the run. Houston is old school running game and defense. And
Tulane had the ability to take the run away because of their D-line and told Holton to beat them. And because of our O-line, they couldn't. They brought pressure. And that was kind of that. The receivers really didn't step up and have a good game either, with the exception of Prohl. C.J. Johnson, maybe, and I'm not taking a shot at C.J., but maybe C.J. Johnson will live up to his ability and his potential one day this year, because he hasn't yet. So I'm challenging you, C.J. You had a big game last year against Cincinnati. Let's see if you can do it again, because so far this year you have underperformed. And, that's not saying anything negative about C.J. That's because I agree. I believe he has a lot of talent, and I believe he can be one of the all-time greats at receiver at East Carolina. But he hadn't done it yet this year. He has not had that game, and so I'm challenging him let's see if you can be the receiver we all thought you could be last year, and I believe you can. I definitely believe you can. And Prohl had a good game yesterday, particularly in the fourth quarter. Snead, that was those linebackers. That was not a good matchup for Snead yesterday. They took Snead out of the game.
Well, and another thing you were talking about CJ. It is true that he's got to improve. It is true that he's got to be open. But what happened was last year he was new, so nobody knew anything about him. Well, now the defense they've had a year to study him. And yes, he does have to react to that. But in fairness, it's not that he's performing poorly. It's the defensive. They've wised up to him.
And if you're gonna be a star receiver, do you not think that the defense realized Justin Hardy and Dwayne Harris?
No, I know that. I'm just and he's got
Larry Shannon, and Troy Smith, and
right.
They knew they were good receivers.
I know. I'm saying don't get off the CJ bandwagon.
I'm not. I'm challenging CJ to be what I believe he can be.
And he's going to be great. By the way, William Grant, Bubba Grant, hey, how you doing, man? Let's put that up there on the screen. All interested parties should call the Pirate Club again, 252-737-4540, or via email at ecupirateclub@ecu.edu. If you're just joining us, we have the We Believe campaign. It's a fundraiser for the Pirates, for ECU, for the athletic program. And again, if you have $5, $10, if we just like we saw at the politics, we saw a whole bunch of giving of people. They're giving small amounts, and all the way, and that's been going on since really 2004. But that's a whole other show. We're not getting to the political side of things. Just want to mention that we could take that model of politics of what they're doing in the political world and bring that to East Carolina. We don't have to wait for NC State or North Carolina. Let's go ahead and do that. Talking about the game, Kyle, I thought as far as John Young, as far as the punting game is concerned, he's hurt. Luke Larson came in. I thought that overall he's playing both.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
The punting game, nobody got a punt block. Nobody shanked the kick. I mean, it didn't blow anybody away, but it was fun. It was adequate. It didn't lose the game for us.
Yeah, you look at another thing. Did you notice? I want to get your take, and maybe the people watching right now can comment on this. But you can tell this team is still young, because you mentioned the point earlier in the show, for people that didn't hear about this. The defense got frustrated, and that's when you get frustrated and you don't keep your head in the game. Then that is when those X plays start to happen. And yes, the D line and O line, they were very good. But I think the effort, Coach Houston has they chart every time you loaf. And I would just love to hear what he has to say tomorrow night on the.
I think they got tired. I think they got tired and got frustrated as they were getting tired. The defense, that is. Heads off to the offense for not giving up. I'll say that about the offense and the defense to an extent. They got a nice fourth down stop in the fourth quarter. So at times the defense, I don't think they ever gave up. I think they got tired and frustrated. The offense played like crap, and that was mainly because of Tulane's defense. But in the fourth quarter, they had their bright spots. I thought early in the game, when it was 7-7, when we stopped Tulane a couple times in a row, and we had the ball close to midfield, maybe on the Tulane side of the field actually, and we went for it on 4th and 1, Holton through instead of being able to run and get the first down. I thought that was a big play in the game. I think had we been able to finish that drive and got a touchdown,
and it gave them
and went up 14-7, it would have given us some momentum, and it would have been a different game. It would have obviously been a different game. I think we'd have been able to score. I don't know that the outcome would have been any different, but the score would have been much closer. It
would be a fourth-quarter game, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, things like that matter. One or two plays makes a difference, and they hit some big plays on us against our defense offensively. Like I said, when they got tired and frustrated, and I think that's kind of what they want to do. I think their offense is kind of designed to nickel and dime you, then hit a big play. That's kind of what they want to do. They did what they wanted to do. That's the best way to put it. They executed their game plan to perfection, and they outperformed us. That loss yesterday, the Tulsa game and the Navy game bothered me a lot more because we should have won the games, even though you felt better after those games because you played well. They were harder to get over. This one, you don't feel so good after it. But there's no question why we lost yesterday. We got beat by a better football team.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with fans. Don't get in the panic room like you were talking about earlier. We're looking ahead, but Cincinnati, man, they are a really good football team. And I'll tell you one thing. We'll talk. I guess we can. Are you ready to start talking some other football?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well. We'll touch on Cincinnati and then talk about some of the other games and get out of here.
Cincinnati, exactly. Cincinnati, for me, how do you feel with the coaching job, Luke Fickell? They're a few years ahead of us, and so that's why when we played them,
you think? Yeah, last year we almost blew off the upset. It was shocking. I don't see that happening 2 years in a row. Their defense this year is
their defense is even better, don't you think?
They have the best defense in college football. I mean, you tell me who's got a better defense than them. This is the last 3 weeks. They held SMU to 14. SMU to 14.
Right.
They held Memphis. That's right, Memphis to 10, and they held Houston to 10. That's what they've done the last 3 weeks. Okay, we might get shut out.
And
their defense, they're averaging giving up 12 points a game. The best defense in college football. Scary good on defense. Offensively, they don't have to do a lot. They can score points, particularly if you turn the ball over and give them extra possessions. But they don't have to do a lot on offense because their defense is scary good.
Yeah.
So it will take a superb effort, and our offensive line is going to have to grow up a lot this week to be competitive in that football game. A lot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When you talk about the Navy game, when the conference would not let Holton Ahlers play, and I'm sorry, that's going to be a win. And you look at the Tulsa game, we got robbed. Having a statement doesn't bring back the game. And then so that's 2 wins right there. You look at the COVID situation, we lose a month of play pretty much. So there's a lot of factors going on why things are the way they are. And we just have to accept we don't need to accept losing. That's not it. But we also need to understand where we are with the program. If this is 2013 or 2014, and we lost to them, I believe, in 2014 anyway, in overtime, but it was like a 3-point game, I think, but something like I had to look at again. Bubba's the numbers guy, but we lost.
We lost over the end of regulation on a field goal.
Okay, it was in the regulation. I knew we lost by 3. I believe that was right. But anyway, my point is that this is a completely different football for Tulane team, and then
dude, everybody knows Tulane's good, man. I mean, they're in the top 10. I mean, Tulane has a chance. You know, I think last night Notre Dame beating Clemson might have screwed that up for them. But Tulane has a chance. Excuse me, Tulane. Cincinnati has a chance to make the playoffs. I think if they go undefeated, I really thought until last night they had a legitimate chance. I think with Notre Dame beating Clemson, what's going to end up happening is Clemson will get their win back against Notre Dame in the ACC championship, and then you're going to have a one-loss Notre Dame be the 4 seed in the playoffs, and Clemson be the 2 seed, Alabama the 1, and Ohio State the 3, and Cincinnati's going to get left out. If Clemson would have beaten Notre Dame yesterday, and then beat them again in the championship, I think Cincinnati, had they ran the table, would have made the playoffs this year. But I think what happened yesterday in the ACC kind of has screwed up Cincinnati's chances.
That I hadn't thought about that till just now, but that's perfect. I was going to talk about Clemson, Notre Dame, and COVID messed up. That would have messed that would have helped with Trevor Lawrence. If Trevor Lawrence is there, there's no question. I mean,
they won. Yeah, they won.
I mean, think about that's how scary Clemson is to think about. You don't have your star quarterback, but you almost beat the number 4 team on the road at their house at Notre Dame, South Bend. I mean, that's just crazy good how Dabo Swinney. You look at that game. Here's another one. Let's talk about this game too. The one that I'm surprised, but yet I'm not surprised, is we've been talking about one of our candidates we had. If you have a laundry list of people, and you asked me, would I take this candidate? And I said yes, as a head coach when we were going through a coaching search.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze, Liberty.
Yeah. I mean, come on now. Liberty.
Yeah.
Liberty.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Look, Liberty's got a lot of money. They're spending a lot of money. I know that there's
$100 million. How about that, my friend? $100 million on athletics. I
know Liberty philosophically, a lot of people don't agree with them being coming from being a school that's from an evangelical background. I tell you, they're going to be good. They're going to be good as long as they want to invest in athletics. So they got a lot of money to spend, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see down the line if the American ever decides to expand. But anyway, yesterday Liberty takes on Virginia Tech. Crazy ending. Virginia Tech or Liberty had a chance to basically. They were tied. Liberty and Virginia Tech were tied. Liberty had poor clock management. Scored too fast. Virginia Tech.
Sorry.
What in the world?
I was trying to put up the scoreboard so I could talk about every single game, and it had one of those videos that popped up. I'm sorry about that. Apologize.
Anyway, long story short, Liberty poor clock management by Liberty, but then they end up in a situation where they're going to have the chance to kick a long field goal to beat the Hokies, and 59-yarder. It gets blocked. Virginia Tech runs it back. You think, oh my God, the Hokies still won. Lo and behold, Justin Fuentes had called a timeout right before Liberty kicked the ball.
Yeah.
And so the play didn't count. And so Liberty gets the ball, gets to do it all over again. And on 4th down this time, they decide to throw for the first down. They pick up the first down and plus 3 more yards, and now they're trying a 50-yard field goal instead of a 59-yard field goal and kick it and win it. So very weird ending to that game. I'm kind of almost of the opinion that you don't know what to do in that situation. The timeout was called, but they didn't get it buzzed down in time because of the stupid electric whistles. You kind of wonder at that point if there should be a rule in place for this year only. Of course, it's too late now because of those electric whistles where you just let the play stand and Virginia Tech wins the game. But you know what, being we all feel like we do and you want to see the underdog win, and no love lost for Virginia Tech anymore for Pirate fans. I think we're all okay with them losing to the Flames, and huge win for Liberty's program. They proved that they legitimately belong in the top 25, and they may go undefeated and win over Virginia Tech, win over Syracuse. Who would have thunk it? They're paying Hugh Freeze pretty good money, but you've got to think some Power 5 school is going to come call it, even with his background with what happened at Ole Miss. But
I think,
congratulations to the Flames.
Yeah, and that situation is such that I think that situation is in the past, and let the past be the past. And you take a guy like Freeze, my God. You want to talk about recruiting? He's a guy that could easily get a Power 5 job. But let's say that a American or a strong conference in the Group of 5 comes to calling.
I just don't think they can pay him any more than Liberty's going to pay him, Dave.
Well, that's another thing, and the other thing with Liberty is the very fact that
we were told he's making around $2 million a year at Liberty. So if they're paying him that much, it's going to take a Power 5 school to get him to leave.
Yeah, and again, like I said, they have an indoor practice facility. They have I think there was $100 million. Damian Sordelet told us, the beat writer for Liberty, somewhere in that neighborhood. So I mean, you're talking a lot of cash. Even that's even big money, Power 5 money that they have, and that's just what they've given. I mean, they've got a whole pot of cash that they're the ones who started distance learning way back, a different form before internet. They had distance learning for a long time. That's where they made their cash. Yeah. And so for people getting the degrees, people like you and me that say, hey, we want to go back and get this degree, counseling or different things. And that's where they've made their money. And so you have now a situation where they're doing well. So congratulations to them. We talked about the Clemson game. Were there other games that you want to talk about that stand out to you?
Well, I didn't get a chance to see it, but Florida beating Georgia was obviously big for those guys in the SEC. It definitely knocks Georgia out of contention for the playoffs. Kind of maybe puts Florida in contention for the playoffs. A big win for the Gators.
Yeah,
BYU just beat the holy hell out of Boise State Friday night. I believe it was like 51-17.
That's correct.
So Boise State needs to stay far away from the top 25 now. What else comes to mind? We mentioned Cincinnati blowing out Houston yesterday.
Marshall got that big win. You were talking about it as a team. The reason I brought them up is we're not.
Who did you mention?
Marshall over UMass.
Yeah.
UMass is the game
UMass
that
is awful.
That's a team that we could have potentially. The reason I brought that game up is that we're not going to play them. Maybe a good thing, but UMass, if we could get them December 5th, that would be fantastic. I don't know what their schedule.
They're open. They're open on the 5th as of right now. So yeah, I'd be in favor of that.
Me too.
What else comes to mind? Baylor and Iowa State had a great finish in Ames. Iowa State.
38-31.
Yeah, good game. I saw the end of that one.
SMU beat Temple 47-23.
Yeah, pretty dominant performance. South Florida almost pulled off a huge upset yesterday. They led that whole game till the very end, and Memphis found a way to beat South Florida at the end. But that was almost a big win for the Bulls yesterday.
Big win for Jimbo Fisher's getting it done this year. I know it's South Carolina, but that was
A&M's playing good football.
A&M's
playing good football. Tennessee, the Vols yesterday with a nice win over Arkansas.
Yep. How about the
Tar Heels destroyed Duke in ACC play, game of interest. App State got a win yesterday over somebody in the Sun Belt. I don't remember who they played, but I know they won. Coastal Carolina still rolling, still in the top 25. They beat South Alabama. So Coastal still looking good.
What about that win for Miami? Had a scare against the Wolfpack. Was that Friday?
Yeah, good game Friday night. The Pack led by 10 in the fourth, and Miami managed to put it away late, or not even put it away, managed to win it late. So nice win by the Canes. Wolfpack gave them a good game. Big Ten. We'll talk a little Big Ten. Indiana with the huge upset of Michigan. Unfortunately, Maryland with the huge upset of Penn State. So weird things going on in the Big Ten. Ohio State still looks like Ohio State. Besides that, the Big Ten's kind of all over the place.
By the way, Kyle, they have the coaches poll out. I was going to tell you really quick in your spot. I don't know if you saw that. They're spot on. As of right now, of course, they haven't had the college football playoff rankings come out, but they have Alabama 1, Notre Dame 2, Ohio State 3, and Clemson 4 right now.
And where's Cincinnati?
Cincinnati 7. So you have Florida. Florida's now 5th. The coaches poll is Texas A&M 6th. You have how about this?
Well, why don't you just put the whole damn SEC? You know, I mean, come on, give me a break.
You have Cincinnati. You have Texas A&M 6. Then you have Cincy at 7. How about this one for you, Kyle? Our buddies at BYU are up to 8th this week, and you have 9th for Miami. And how about you were talking about one of the? It's been coming. It's not like it's overnight success, but Indiana at 10th this week is that program 3-0. Of course, they beat.
That is a weird looking top 10 right there. You got Indiana, Cincinnati, BYU all in the top 10, and you know, I don't really know. And I'm going to say this, and this is no disrespect to BYU. BYU's a good football team. BYU hadn't played anybody. I mean, Boise State is unproven this year. That was the second game of the year for Boise State. So BYU may be a little overrated at number 8, but it's not their fault. It's not their fault. They played the schedule they could put together. They had a very tough scheduled for the beginning of the year, and lost it all because of COVID. So it's not their fault that they hadn't played anybody. But I'm not sure BYU is truly the 8th best team in college football. I don't want to play them because they look really good. They've literally played nobody. So I mean, they destroyed Boise. But you know, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. If they'll give BYU an at-large bid into the New Year's Six Bowl, I wonder if they will. They you know, they do have I don't know how many fans are going to be allowed at bowls this year. That is one thing BYU does have is a large fan base. Just so everybody knows, and I think most Pirate fans are smart enough to know this. BYU is not eligible for the New Year's Six spot that goes to the Group of 5.
That's
right. There are a lot of people that believe they are. They are not. They are not in a Group of 5 conference. They are not competing for Cincinnati for that spot. If Cincinnati wins out and doesn't make the playoffs, or even if they don't win out, even if they lose one, they're going to get the Group of 5 playoff spot as long as they win the conference. And let's say Cincinnati loses the conference championship game, then it would go to whoever wins the American or potentially the Mountain West champion. It would not go to BYU. BYU will never be eligible for the Group of 6 playoff spot or Group of 6 bowl spot, the New Year's Six Bowl. So if BYU is going to be in a New Year's Six Bowl, it's going to have to be an at-large. Now, Cincinnati versus BYU would be pretty fun.
Yeah, it would, and no disrespect to the Cougars, but I know how much they love their program, and they're a team, this brand name team that got left out of the whole Autonomy 5 mess and Power 5 mess. But they're going to have to find a conference because, and I think it's our conference. Maybe I'm biased, but they're going to get left out. And you know, the sad thing is that very point.
I think this year will be the year that we'll find out if they really need to find a conference. If they go undefeated and they don't get an at-large to a New Year's Six Bowl, then they may realize that they need to find a conference because they make a lot of money as an independent. They don't make Notre Dame money, but they make a lot of money as an independent, and they can put together a nice schedule normally. So I you know, this is going to be kind of it's going to be interesting how things play out if they will be given an at-large spot in the New Year's Six. And it's a weird year, but congrats to the Cougs for taking care of business. They got 2 games left on their schedule. They got North Alabama and San Diego State. I thought San Diego State might be a game, give them a game, and they still might. But San Diego State got waxed by San Jose State. And it's one other team we'll talk about. How about San Jose State undefeated, looking like they're going to win the Mountain West this year?
I can't believe that.
That guy's a good coach. I remember when they hired him. I watched his first game as head coach 3 years ago, And I thought, man, they look really fundamentally sound. I like what they're doing. They just ain't got no talent. And 3 years later, here they are rolling through the Mountain West. So good for the Spartans of San Jose State. And there's a team right there. If Cincinnati goofs up and loses the conference championship game, San Jose State's undefeated. They would probably get that spot if they win the Mountain West. So,
yeah, you're right. I've heard a lot about BYU, and the same thing can be said about Liberty. So another they're making tons of money, but how much would they make if they joined a league?
Liberty's better off as an independent because Liberty's the only leagues that are interested in them are Conference USA and potentially Conference USA, but the Sun Belt, and they turned the Sun Belt down. Conference USA may be interested now, but I don't think Liberty is better off as an independent unless they can get into the American. I truly believe that.
Well, we definitely have our work cut out for us. Are you going to, with the remaining minutes we have, you want to talk a little early preview with Cincinnati? I think it's going to be, I know you talked about it. Luke Fickell has a great program. And then you look at the situation, it's on the road. It's a Friday night. By the way, we'll have coverage. The Mike Houston press conference, by the way, folks, is tomorrow. So we'll have all that. We'll have a Tuesday show for us. Plus, we have the coordinators on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday would normally be the coach Mike Houston press conference will be bumped up a day because the game is Friday night on the road in Cincy. So I just want to remind fans, programming note, make sure that you know that everything's bumped up one day that normally we would have. And, of course, we'll have our Pirate preview, I'd imagine, on Wednesday or definitely Thursday. Wednesday or Thursday, we're working on that right now. So we've got all those programming notes out of the way. And, Kyle, as far as Cincy, what do you have to say about them?
That's going to take a supreme effort. Cincinnati's the best football team we played this year. Offensive line's going to have to grow up a lot. Last year we came close against them. I think that had a lot to do with Cincinnati not being in that game mentally. So maybe Cincinnati, they've had 3 big games in a row. They've taken on SMU, Memphis, and Houston 3 straight weeks. So this is a Friday night. Maybe this is the week they kind of decide to take off and take the foot off the gas and go through the motions. And, I think that would be our best chance to be competitive. I would expect the line's probably coming out right about now. I would expect this to be about a 31-point underdog, anywhere between 21 and 31. It's going to take a supreme effort on our part to pull off an upset. They got a hell of a defense, the best defense I've seen in college football this year.
I agree with you, and you know how much I'm a half full kind of guy when it comes to glass half full, but realistically, it's going to be really difficult to win on the road, and then we have a terrible record in the American on the road.
I don't know that on the road makes a difference. I really think with the exception of Georgia State, I think we've played better on the road this year. So I don't know that makes much difference, but they're good, man. They're good.
Really good, yeah. So don't give up on the program. We're going to go ahead and pre-warn you that for those that are probably watching this anyway or listening to our show, they know how great Cincinnati is and what this program has become over the last few years under Luke Fickell. Before we go, too, I want to mention a very sad note. Thanks to you guys for letting me know, because you guys may know how much I love game shows and love Jeopardy. Alex Trebek, we found out right before we were going on the program, passed away. He's had a battle for the last couple of years with cancer. And he died peacefully at his home at the age of 80. And if you know anything about me, I love that show. I'm not good enough to be on that show. I know my limitations. I tried out for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 5 years ago, and it was I got a reality check. So, but anyway, we're going to miss Alex Trebek. He's been doing the show since like 83. I think I was 10 when they started that show. So it'll be interesting to see. Do you have anybody that I'm going to throw a curveball at you, but do you have anybody, or do you care who is the next host of Jeopardy? Maybe
what's his name? The guy who Chris Jennings? No, not Chris Jennings.
Ken Jennings?
Yeah, Jennings. Yeah.
I would take that. That's fair. I like him. He's a producer now of the show.
Yeah, he is, and I think I don't know his personality, if his personality is conducive to hosting, but I think if his personality is conducive to hosting, I think that is who most people would accept as host. He is the name most associated with Jeopardy outside of Alex Trebek. I think if he can do it, I mean, you got to have a certain personality to be a game show host. If he can do it, he is who most people would accept in that role. Besides that, I wouldn't begin to tell you who would be the next best person to host Jeopardy.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you don't want to see your favorite TV host pass away or leave the show, retire. He did you have to say one thing about Alex Trebek. No matter how sick he was still sharp. He looked fantastic.
Yeah, pancreatic cancer is a bitch, man. Yeah. It is. Yeah. You don't survive it, and it's terrible that
and he
took him out.
He had stage 4 for like 2 years. I mean, it was a long time. I thought that he would pass away sooner, and I'm glad that we had him for an extra season or two. And personally, too, it seems like a really nice guy and a great guy. So we're going to miss Alex Trebek a lot, and we'll see who is the host. And you have a great one, which I've thought about, Kyle, with Ken Jennings. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll give with all our programming coming up, we've got a lot of stuff. And by the way, we're going to also be doing Bubba's been working really hard behind the scenes with the college basketball preview that we're working on. And in the next week or so, we'll drop that podcast. We'll be talking to Coach Joe Dooley on Tuesday, and we'll record that, and we'll have that for you very soon. We also have Chris Dyba. They have a great win the notice, Kyle, we have on Tuesday night. We do ECU stuff. It's not a sports-related thing, although I think they're going to help out the Pirate Club, by the way, Kyle. There's a great scholarship. It's called the Beacon Scholarship, and they do much more than that. But the Beacon Scholarship, essentially, we'll get Chris to talk to us about that. We'll have that for you Tuesday as well. Basically what it is, imagine if you're a local kid in North Carolina, they're using a scholarship to help compete against, say, an Appalachian State or Wilmington. They're doing that to help you. It's right now, just tuition alone is $4,000 a year. You have a 3.0 GPA. They give you $1,000 for every year. So if you do that, I guess freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, that would help you with $4,000 total. So $1,000 a year towards the tuition. Every little bit helps, but they're doing that. We'll be talking to Chris on Tuesday. We'll have that on our Tuesday show. Kyle, do you have anything before we go?
No, man. Just like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. At the Sports OBJ is the Sports Objective on Facebook, and also go check out our YouTube channel.
All right, and we'll do that. Appreciate everybody so much for all their time and following the show, like you said.
Oh yeah, and guys, anybody that watches us on Facebook Live, if you ever want to just listen to the audio, these shows are always put together and put out, still be a traditional podcast format. I mean, so you can always listen to us through your favorite podcast player.
That's right, Rover. If you add all the social media in with favorite platforms, Apple, Google, the like, and Amazon, we recently added, it's well over 20. So we're everywhere. There's no excuse not to be able to listen to the podcast, but you can watch us archived, even if you can't catch it live, Facebook and our YouTube channel as well. All right, for Bubba Rosenbaum, Kyle Barber, I'm Dave Richmond. You've been watching and listening to the Sports Objective Podcast, the Pirate football playback. Our Pirates lose 38-21. Good luck to them this week against Cincinnati, and we'll be seeing you very soon right here. Good day, and go Pirates!